Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on European Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it was sent to me by one of our dear sister. And this is the translation of the message that was forwarded to me by one of our admins. The translation reads like this. Hello, Brother Nanshi, how are you? Can you please post my own story as anonymous? My story, it goes on like this. Brother Nanshi, I want to confess how I got involved in these dark occultic practices. I had this other blesser of mine who had booked me for a night. My name is Naledi, not a real name, and I have lived in the shadows for too long, hiding a terrible secret that has haunted me since the year 2014. So you see, I used to work as a stripper here in Johannesburg. I was trying to make ends meet and dreaming of a better life, and I was taking myself to college at that time. I thought that I had control of my life, but I did not know how deep into darkness I was going to fall. It was in the year 2014. That was when I met a man whom I'll call my blesser, who promised me everything that I ever wanted. His name, I'll call him Vusi. The guy, from the very moment that I met him, I could see that he was rich, powerful, and charming. He had everything that I did not have. He had everything that my previous boyfriends could not even afford, like he had your luxury cars, mansions, expensive clothes. I was drawn to him because he offered me an escape from the life that I was living. He promised to take care of me, to spoil me with money and gifts. I thought that he was the answer to all of my problems, but oh boy, I was so wrong. At first, everything seemed to be so perfect. So Vusi gave me money, bought for me designer clothes, and took me to the finest restaurants. But after a few months, things started to change. He told me that in order to continue enjoying the luxury that he provided, I needed to go with him to his house. In short, he wanted me to participate in a ritual. He explained to me quite clearly. He said that you are a stripper, everything is out in the open. When one comes to you, one knows what to expect from you. So I am going to be honest with you. I want you to help me to participate in a ritual so that I can continue giving you money. He explained that his money was not clean money, but it came from dark forces. And if I wanted to stay by his side forever, I had to prove my loyalty to the same forces. Otherwise, he was going to stop giving me money. And I was so desperate for his money. I was scared, but I was also trapped. I had become dependent on the lifestyle that he had provided for me. I was now staying at a very beautiful apartment, so I agreed. That night, Vusi took me to a mansion on the outskirts of the city. That night, Vusi took me to a mansion on the outskirts of the city. Inside that mansion, I could see that even the walls, it was as if the walls had eyes, and these eyes were looking at me. There were some few strange symbols that were all over the walls, candles that were burning, and I felt this strange silence that made my skin to crawl. I felt a coldness in the air that I had never felt before. He led me into a room where a large snake, a python, was coiled on the floor. I was horrified, but Vusi told me that this was the final step in the ritual. He told me that I had to sleep with the snake. I could not believe what I was hearing, but he insisted that if I do not do it, I was going to lose everything, my lifestyle, his protection, even my own safety. He said that the snake was not an ordinary animal, but a spiritual entity that had granted him his wealth and power. It was a ritual snake, and it demanded submission. I was terrified, Brother Nashi. I do not want to lie to you. I felt like I had no choice. My fear of losing everything was greater than my fear of the snake. So he performed strange chants whilst I lay on the bed. I was trembling, and I remember that I was feeling this strange coldness like a snake as it was now slithering over me, and the overwhelming feeling of dread that was now consuming me. It was as if this snake wanted to suffocate me, not physically, but spiritually. I felt like my soul was being ripped apart. After that night, I felt totally different. The gifts and money, they kept coming. But now, to tell you the truth, I feel so empty inside. I could not even shake the feeling that I had lost something in that ritual, something that I could never get back. My nightmares became unbearable, filled with visions of snakes and strange dark figures chasing me. I felt as if I was cursed. No matter how much money or luxury I was being offered by my blesser, but deep down I kept on feeling that I was now empty. There was this other night when I wanted to pray. I then felt that even the Holy Spirit had left my heart because of what was going on. Over the years, my blesser continued to demand more from me. He became more controlling, and I felt like I was a prisoner in his cage. The more that I stayed with him, the deeper that I sank into the darkness. I knew that my soul was entangled with something that is evil, and I did not know how to escape. These rituals, they became so intense, so much that they were draining me physically, emotionally, and spiritually, and the power of that snake had held over my life and the power that the snake held over my life became more evident. I could no longer recognize myself. I was no longer the confident woman who I had once believed she could rise above. I no longer recognized myself. I was no longer the confident woman who had once believed she could rise above her circumstances. Instead, I was a slave to a dark force that fed on my fear, my guilt, my shame. Today I confess because I cannot live with the secrets any longer. I am haunted by what I did, and I realized that no amount of money and material possessions can make up for the spiritual death that I experienced that night. I want to warn other women out there, especially those who think they can gain something from men like Vusi. It's not worth it. These blessers, they will promise you the world, and indeed, most of them, they can give you the world, but at what price? That is why it is said that it is not good for a person to lose their soul. It now makes sense to me that it does not it now makes sense to me that it does not mean anything to gain the whole world, then you lose your soul, to be afraid to look at yourself in the mirror. And the price that you have to pay when you are dating these blessers, it is too high. You'll be having the latest gadgets, the latest iPhones, very expensive clothes, but at the same time, you will lose your soul. What I thought was just a wealthy man's game turned out to be a dark trap that stole my peace and my soul. I no longer wanted to live in that darkness, but what hurts me and the painful part about my confession is that I can't run away from it all, even though I do hope that by sharing my story, I can begin to heal and to break free from the chains that are binding me. To anyone that is listening, please be careful of the path that you choose. Some doors, once you open them, like these spiritual doors, can never be closed. I once went to church. You won't even believe it. I was told by the pastor that I have exactly 11 doors, spiritual doors that are opened up, and these doors, they need to be closed. Otherwise, I'll keep on being possessed by these demons. You might not even see that I am someone that is possessed by demons. So since I have all of these doors that are opened spiritually, any demon that wants to enter into my heart, the demon can enter, and I can even see myself manifesting when I am in church. Sometimes I can get so angry when a pastor is preaching, and then I will know that I will be manifesting, and it will be the devil in me that will be manifesting. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our admin. She was the one who gave us this translation. I am interested about this thing of spiritual doors. Do you know anything about these spiritual doors? If you know anything, then please tell us in the comment section. We have since written to one pastor, hoping that our dear pastor is going to inform us what did our dear sister mean when she says that she has 11 spiritual doors that she opened up when she was performing these rituals. Now the demons, they do whatever that they want to do with her body.